as a school leader, you get to see something that teachers don't always get to see, which is kind of the big picture of what things look like across the entire school. So, from your kind of vantage point, how have you seen the teaching and learning shift or transform across the school at Clovis?
Yeah, I see the trend across all grade levels and classrooms that Natalie was just naming in her specific room, which is the student engagement really going through the roof and like their motivation and interest in the text just being unmatched to even prior years in which we had a curriculum adoption that purported to be a knowledge building curriculum, but just wasn't as well designed. And as Natalie mentioned, like one of the really exciting parts of Red Thread for us has been the way that not only is there just rich, authentic texts selected for every unit, which are all centered around deep themes, conceptual themes, not just topics like tertiary topics, but deep, essential questions about life. But so we've got the rich text selections, but then the teacher materials, the teaching points are written so thoughtfully that they promote genre-based thinking and they provide repeated at-bats, more practice in unlocking the meaning of the text in the same way. So the teaching points have a kind of standard format to them. They begin with like nonfiction readers ask themselves, what are the headers and footers and whatever the text features here in this selection before they begin reading or something like that. So it's like a prompt that names what good readers do. And then that becomes the purpose for reading today's text selection or how we're going to read, how we're going to make meaning of the text today. And I can see visiting classrooms like how the vertical articulation of those same at-bats playing out because they're written from the standards, right? All those teaching points were written from Common Core standards. So you can see how the increasing demand across the grade levels plays out in the classrooms. But I just feel that that laser focus on the teaching point has made a big difference in our teachers' practice. So that we're not trying to do everything with every text every day because there's a million ways to make meaning out of text, right? But having that in the teacher guide, I think, has helped our elevate our practice. And then, as Natalie mentioned, I mean, we are kind of a unique school setting being dual language. And so we kind of saw the advantage of those teaching points being transferable to any text. And we did that work. We deliberately transferred the teaching points from a red thread curriculum into use in our history social studies instructional block or our science when our students were reading out of their science materials so that they were still making meaning of text in the same ways. So that was really exciting to see just how it shifted our teaching practice to be deeper and promote better conversation and student discussion.
And it really reminds me, Ruth, of something that Dr. Newman talked about this morning of, not just teaching literacy skills on their own or in isolation, but really the teaching the literacy skills in service of the knowledge that we're building and the topics that we're learning about. And to not only hear you talk about that, but to hear how that what that has looked like across languages and how truly transferable that has been, both connected to building knowledge, both in your English classes and also in your Spanish classes, has been really just exciting to personally also seen in your classrooms has really been pretty amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that also.